today we've got myself, Matt Volm, who I think a lot of you know if you've attended any prior events, CEO and co-founder of RevOps Co-op, a global community of folks who are passionate about revenue operations. If you're not already a community member, definitely encourage you to check us out. I'll throw the link in the chat. We've got a lot of different membership options. We've got a Slack group, do a bunch of digital events like this, newsletter, other things like that. And all we do is talk about RevOps and revenue operations all day. And so that's a little bit about RevOps Co-op in the community. And then with me, I'm joined by Jessica, who is the head of revenue operations over at Syncery. And before I kind of get into the topic and kind of introduce that, I guess, Jessica, why don't you give us the quick kind of spiel on yourself professionally? And then I always like to ask people for kind of one fun, interesting personal fact as well, non-RevOps, non-professional related. So.
Love it. Love it. Hey, everybody. My name is Jessica, aka JP Zangri. I have been in the Salesforce tech space probably since the early aughts. One of the early adopters at Salesforce. I did an implementation for the Pistons for the NBA back in 2006, and I just kind of fell in love with it. But I've always been an efficiency enthusiast, right? Always questioning the status quo. So as an operator, kind of, I think my first title was database marketing, which is now known as marketing operations, right? So as an operator, I'm just always looking to solve problems with people, process, technology. So, and, really exciting to see what's happened in the past, decade or so in our space. And that being said, I mean, we're all in a heck of a pressure cooker lately, aren't we? Right? Not even just last couple of years, but just in general. So a fun fact about me is I'm very passionate about breathwork. I actually did a 3-hour breathwork meditation session last night, right, with a group. So I'm feeling calm, I'm feeling confident, and I just want to remind everybody that we have so much screen time and so much again, pressure, that it's really important to remember our humanity. And I always say that I think breath is our pressure valve. So just breathe in, release the good stress, let in the good stress, make that diaphragm nice and big. So all of this fun, exciting RevOps stuff, just remember to breathe. We're all humans.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. 3 hours seems like such an incredibly long time for a
Wasn't
session.
enough, my friends.
Yeah, I bet you that once you're in it, probably goes by just like that.
Absolutely. No lack of that type of practice up here in Colorado. And
yeah. Awesome.
So very on brand. Yes.
That's awesome. All right, cool. Well, so the thing that Jessica and I are going to be chatting all about today is, I think, this notion of the single source of truth. The myth, the legend. Is it a mirage? What is it exactly, and why? It may actually not be the thing that everyone should be striving for or ultimately looking for. And one of the alternatives is really a distributed source of truth. And we're going to talk about, again, kind of pros and cons of, trying to get to the elusive single source of truth, some of the pitfalls, and then talk about what we mean by this whole notion of distributed source of truth, why it might be preferred, and then specifically some of the things that you can start doing today, tomorrow, the next time you show up to do your RevOps thing, to actually start to move in that direction. And so I want to kind of first turn it over to Jessica to kind of pull up some slides and then kick us off kind of into the topic. And I think initially the first thing we're going to start on is just like, what is a single source of truth? And we can kind of take things from there. So I'll kick it over to you, Jessica.
Absolutely. This is one of those hot take topics over the past couple of years. So I encourage chat. Matt and I will ask some questions back and forth, so I definitely encourage participation. But with that, let me share kind of a quick and dirty slide with the help of my marketing lead, Evan Dunn, to help guide our conversation. Quick and dirty definition, right? It's one place, all the important data stored, harmonized, analyzed. As RevOps, this is like our unicorn, right? This is what we think our job should be. I have to get the data. I have to put it all in one place. I have to put it all in Salesforce. I have to put it all in my BI system. I have to do this. So this is our this is our business requirement, if you will, right? So this is why this is such a hot take, because we really want to challenge this, right? It's harmonized, it's analyzed, it's all this stuff that makes us feel really warm and fuzzy. But in practice, it's hard, right? We just want to stick everything in one place that we can get it. Seems really easy, right? Doesn't it seem easy? Because we're all data scientists, right? RevOps, aren't we? Engineers, data scientists. Anybody? No?
IT.
IT? Oh yeah, engineers. Not me. Right? But we're kind of expected to perform that role, right? So all of my GTM functions, my leadership functions, they're like, okay, just stick it somewhere so you can give it to me at my beck and call. So that's how it's perceived right now. Again, I think it's kind of chasing that unicorn. So how it exists in practice, I mean, RevOps is it's evolved from MOPS supporting marketing and rolling up there structurally, SOPs reporting up to sales structurally, to kind of coming into this one unit where you support, like Switzerland, all of your business units and the business requirements, and not just the requirements for each functional area. So how it exists for a single source of truth is marketing's like, oh, okay, well, I have, all of my stuff in Marketo. Sales is like, we'll just put it all in Salesforce. Oh, wait, I have some contract stuff, or that might be a NetSuite. Finance is like, don't touch NetSuite. That's my system. So that's why it's this really simple slide right here is why this is so hard, because of the perception of where all this data lives, depending on the functional area that you're talking to. So, like I said, seems easy, right? But it's far from that. So I look at this, and again, as an ops person that's been in the ecosystem for for over a decade, I think of Scott Brinker's tech landscape, and now there's sales tech landscape, and now there's AI. So I'm responsible for all of these tools, right? I'm responsible for the admin of them. I'm responsible for the connections of them. I'm responsible for the requirements and the analytics. This is really hard. So how do I do this? Not being an IT professional, not knowing if I update something in Marketo and I call an API that breaks something else in another system. This stuff is really can get really complex, really hard. When I'm trying to solve something really simple, just get accurate data confidently to the functions that I support. So here's our challenge. And like I said, like when we administer all these things, I look at this and I see a challenge, and I sometimes forget about the requirements. Let's always say it's business first, technology second. Like I've always said, especially for operations, is you have to be a mathematician first, then a technologist, and then kind of insert whatever business unit you're supporting here. So always keep that in mind, your requirements. So if I say that my requirement is to get all the data in one spot, I'm not really solving a business challenge, right? So that's why we're challenging this single source of truth idea, that it doesn't really work. Sounds nice. Again, love the word harmony, love the word analyze, love the word important. But we don't really need all of this data in one spot, right? Not everybody can, the AEs that need invoice information, we don't want to get them into NetSuite to log in. Maybe my finance team that wants bookings doesn't need to log into Salesforce, but maybe once a quarter to do revenue recognition. So getting it all into one place means I either get it into my finance system or getting it to sales system. That's where we're kind of flipping it on its head and saying, no, just give the team the data in the tools where they work. So the concept of sticking everything in one warehouse just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I think the
yeah,
thing,
go ahead.
like I know we've talked about in our prep of this session, but also, I think one of the like the challenges to the way of thinking is, I know I fell into this trap too, in prior roles of like, you kind of default to this notion of thinking you need or wanting this kind of single source of truth. And I think it goes to all the reasons that you mentioned, Jessica, of like, you want it sounds simple to have everything in one place. It sounds like it'll eliminate complexity and kind of make things easier. But to your point, like think about call it the business problem or the business need, but also think about like your users. And if you have a single source of truth or all your data in one place, like does every single person at your company or 100% of people on your go-to-market team, do they all only work out of Salesforce or your CRM? I mean, like everyone, like the answer is no across the board, right? Like finance is not only working out of Salesforce, and even your sales team is not only working out of Salesforce, your CS team, your marketing team, right? So like while it all sounds great, and I think the intention is appropriate and is correct, I think we just need to challenge ourselves of like not defaulting to this notion of like going after the single source of truth, because it's just not the way that our users use technology today, right? We all have our own tools, our own systems. And so thinking about how you can get accurate data into the tools that your different stakeholders use is really the way to kind of flip the script a little bit. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you think about it, like a data highway, right? It has an endpoint. So you stick it in a data warehouse. And then I also think about it kind of like a data supply chain, right? Like all the people, software, processes. So if everything is in a data warehouse, again, we're not IT, we're not engineering. Oops, I have another requirement from my CS team, and now I need to go hunt down data. Oh, well, that's fun. Now I need to go back into my engineering backlog. That's a very, very expensive process to get the data that I need. Maybe that takes months, maybe that takes quarters. Maybe by the time I get it, the requirements have changed. Maybe my engagement for product usage is, logins in the last 60 days instead of the last 30 days, right? So I have this data warehouse and I define my single source of truth for engagement as logins the last 30 days. But now the business says, well, let's try 60 days. I go, oh man, now I gotta go back to my data warehouse, which I don't own, and change those requirements for a single source of truth. So that's a really practical and an example that I've dealt with personally. Yeah. So, and that's where it goes, well, just stick it all in Salesforce. Well, we all know that Salesforce is not a data warehouse, right? So it's not gonna solve every single data point that you need from your lead to cash funnel. So CRM doesn't work either. It might be the easiest default, and I still default there sometimes too, because I've been working in Salesforce for such a long time. It's my comfort blanket, right? I can create a field, I can create an object all day, give me the data. Oh, and I've created a big technical debt mess that I can't iterate on, right? Like I built a skyscraper, and then every time I need to build a new story, I have to knock the whole freaking thing down and start from scratch. We don't want to do that. That's why CRM doesn't do that. I've been a victim of that many, many times, trying to turn Salesforce into a data warehouse.
Yep.
So all this stuff doesn't work. So what works? I don't know. What's your experience, Matt?
Well, Tom, and I guess Tom in the chat brought up like a good point too of because then I'm like, well, what if I'm thinking about all the times that I've been asked of, like, well, what's our source of truth? And I think what people are really asking is like, well, where's this data coming from? So Tom, Tom brought up here of like how he kind of handles that question, but I guess maybe and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead at all here, Jessica, but like, so if, like if your executives or your stakeholders, like if you start in RevOps, start to get questions like that, what are some things that people can do to start to flip the script, or at least get people to start to think about things differently? I think Tom brought up a good point of, like when he gets asked about the single source of truth idea, he kind of responds with a question, which is great. And it's like, well, source of truth for what, right? Like, what are you trying to answer? And then you can get at, like what the source of data is or where you're pulling things from. But do you have any feedback or recommendations on, like how folks can either start to challenge themselves or maybe challenge others, ask the right questions to start to get people to think about this differently?
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I love that question is because it had nothing to do with the systems, right? Nothing to do with the systems, nothing to do with the platforms. So I'm going to talk about this in a couple slides, but I'll preface it with my punchline, which is single source of truth actually does have a place in this conversation. And that's for your lexicon or your data dictionary, right? Everything else should be a view. I should have the ability for finance to view bookings. I should have the ability for, for my exec team to view what our CAC payback is and our gross margins are, right? That's my business requirement. I want to see, I want to help scale profitability. I don't want to just say, oh, now I have all the data in one place. I can calculate CAC, check, I'm good to go. Right. So it's that data dictionary, that lexicon, get really down and dirty with all of your stakeholders for that view, so that you can control the process, you can control the data for insights, but the data doesn't have to come from one single pile of data. But you should control the single source of truth. Again, it's for your data dictionary. So
yeah,
kind of a couple of thoughts.
And that's, I know one of our like one of the things that, again, because a lot, at least for me as a ops person, I think a lot of it in like real life examples, right? And I think you brought up a really good one of, well, okay, give me an example of why single source of truth may not be like the way to go, right? In terms of how we traditionally think of it. And you just brought up customer acquisition cost payback period, right? I mean, first look at the math of how you calculate that metric, right? Sales and marketing spend over the course of a period of time divided by number of new customers that you land. Do you think all of your sales and marketing expense, operating expense from QuickBooks, NetSuite, wherever your ERP is, like, do you think all of that should belong in, say, Salesforce? I don't think anyone would.
If my requirement was single source of truth, yes.
Yeah,
right?
And I think
it puts your blinders on, right? So then I'm like, I'm totally missing the big picture of what's possible, and I'm just worried about checking the box that I have all my data in one spot.
Yeah. And I think, like, why would you want that, right? Like, why would you want your sales and marketing operating expense data to be in your CRM? You don't. You may want that metric or that data point to wind up in different places, right? But it shouldn't, call it like originate from one really nice spot. Right. And so that was like one good example for me, at least, where things kind of clicked a little bit. We're like, oh yeah, like that, obviously that doesn't make sense.
Right. That's right. Yeah. That's why I'm like, if I'm again chasing this unicorn, I'm never going to get anything done. So then I'm going to export everything as spreadsheets. So right. So that's kind of where we are now. So all of these systems, right, they're connected. But it's more of a constellation than it is just a point-to-point solution. We need to make sure that in Zendesk that the account name is the right one in Salesforce, so that if it's not right in Salesforce, then my product usage data is going to be wrong, and then maybe not feed my CS team who's in Zendesk, who doesn't maybe have product usage access to data, or has to swivel chair or log into 3 different systems to aggregate it. It's a bad customer experience. So all of these systems, it's great that we have them, right? Oh, we implemented, optimization of Marketo, of Salesforce, of HubSpot, of, all of these tools, but without accuracy and quality, like we say here, they're all kind of useless, sit in their own silos.
Yep.
And RevOps has been tasked, right? This daunting task to get everything together. So I'm saying, all right, well, all right, here's a pretty dashboard, right? It's like a shiny object, like, oh, squirrel, like leadership. Look over here. Look at this dashboard. I don't know. Is anybody? I've created many Tableau and Looker dashboards that say, master CMO leadership dashboard. Then I go, hey, CMO, have you used this before? No. I don't trust that data. Nope, definitely not. Yeah. So then you have this, again, more technical debt. So that the analytics and dashboard also isn't your requirement, just because everybody can build a dashboard. It's very easy. But it's what the data that's powering the dashboard. And then if you're like, well, my data needs to come from one place, you're just making it harder on yourself.
Yeah.
So this is like our very rudimentary bow tie, right? Like everything from lead to cash, right? So when I look at this, I want to, again, not just surface up these data points, but really provide the insights, right? So everything from lead to cash, my volume, my conversion, my velocity, for everything, so that I can compare those metrics and be in advisor to my executive staff, to my e-staff, be an advisor to the marketing team about how they should spend their data, be an advisor to our engineering team about what what customers are affecting our COGS, our cost of goods sold. That this right here is really powerful. You need the distributed data in order to do that. So when you have each team having their own source of truth, it's actually kind of funny. One of our qualifying questions now for our own ICP is how many customers do you have, right? Not necessarily the number of employees. So think about some of the data points that you have for your own ICP. And one of ours is, hey, how many customers do you have? That's a really funny question because we sell to RevOps people, and a lot of people are like pausing there.
Like, it depends.
Exactly. So if you have marketing, how many customers? Exactly. NetSuite might say, Disney is one customer, but sales is like, no, it's actually, Disney, ESPN, all these things, because they're in different territories. So no, that's 5 customers, right, Mark? So that's why RevOps is really tasked with owning that lexicon of this is our number of customers, but that data comes from many different systems, right?
Yep. And that gets at the thing you brought up earlier too, of that kind of data dictionary. Again, not to jump ahead to some of the solutions, but define, like, that should be, call it like the source of truth. If everyone knows what the definition of a customer is, then you don't need to have different answers to that question, because there's not different definitions, right?
Yeah. And again, it seems so simple, but what we're really trying to do is, be data driven. Everybody wants to be data driven. I'm a data driven marketer. I'm a data driven sales ops. I'm data driven CS. But what that tends to mean now is I'm good at looking in a rearview mirror and seeing what's happening. But what we really want to shift to is getting that data where we can be data driven so that it's trusted, not just in retrospect, but to drive decisions that help mitigate churn, that help with our costs, right? So it's the operationalization, excuse me, of the data. Sorry. So we want people to change the way they work, this afternoon, and not, have RevOps be asked a question and then in 3 weeks from now say, oh, we need to change the way that we offer up our product usage, because this is actually the indication of churn before it's too late. And
one question, I know Evan was kind of answering some of this stuff, but Tom asked on just like, so where does a data warehouse kind of fit into things, and how can we look at like the purposes that we may have for a data warehouse? Like, does it help with like tying some of these things together? Does it help eliminate the need to like export data and like everyone to have like a bunch of disparate spreadsheets all around? How can we be looking at like where a data warehouse can?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And to be clear, data warehouses are our friend, not our enemy. So we're not replacing data warehouse, right? We still need, a place for data to sit. A really good example for me as a RevOps professional is getting some product usage data. So if you've ever used Pendo or UserFlow or one of those product usage tools, there are, again, go back to your requirements. I have all of these events that I want to gather from my product. Where do those events live? So if I say, okay, cool, I can just grab those events from Pendo, and then I go and I say, ooh, some of these are actually back-end product events. Well, where do those go, right? So that's where data warehouse is really, really critical, and I think plays very nicely in the bow tie funnel. Get that data, match up with front-end events that you can get easily from a Pendo or UserFlow, like logins. Get the engineering back-end data, like the exact APIs that they're using, the number of records that they're using, or however you, whatever your inputs are to your product North Star, if you will. Some of that stuff just isn't available in the front end. So having that in the data warehouse and matching that nicely with your full data model is very important.
Yeah, I think the only things that I would add are one, and you brought this up earlier, Jessica, with all things, right? Start with the problem, not the solution. So again, it's really easy for all of us to be like, well, obviously we need a data warehouse, like gotta go out and look at Snowflake and all the things, right? But don't default to the solution. Start with, the
Exactly.
problem that you're trying to solve. And then, like you said, if you're trying to get product event data, and you want to use it to calculate certain metrics and deliver it to your team, right? Is a data warehouse then a viable solution for you? So start with the problem, not the solution. And then the last thing, and again, I know this sounds like obvious and people are probably going to roll their eyes at me, but like, don't forget that you actually need to use the tools, the products that you purchase, meaning like you've got to implement them and you've got to use them. And so if you get a data warehouse, like you need someone who knows how to like pull data and like do all the things, right?
Extract it and you, yep.
Exactly. I do not know how to do any of that. So like if I had that and I was the only one who was responsible for it, like I would not be able to use it. And whether it's a data warehouse or any other tool, like just don't forget about like once you purchase something, you need to implement it and you need to use it in order to get value and actually solve the problems that you set out to solve for. So just don't forget about that last mile, that last step, because that can be again where things can fall short, whether it's a data warehouse or any other tool that you're evaluating for your tech stack.
Mm-hmm. And what I've seen before too, and I'm going to say it again, the data warehouse and people that support that, they're friends, not enemies, right? We gotta play really, really nicely here because we're in such overwhelmed with data and systems and tools. That our executive team and even our go-to-market functions, they tend to view analytics as their source of truth for answers, right? So I go to the analytics team, I go to my technical data team to have answers, but what we really want is the answers to come from the business and be empowered with that data. So that connection is really important. Again, like Matt said, it's not just yes, I got all this data in a warehouse, check the box, move on. Analytics did their job, but it's putting that data into action and matching it with the other data points that really help you see, hey, is my churn rate high for customers that have this particular usage, but those customers in that particular cohort look like the customers that have a really high close rate. So as RevOps, I want that data to match those two and say, ooh, I have a high close rate and a high churn rate. What do? I have an ICP problem, right? Or we're talking to accounts where the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So let's, go to another industry, go down market, go up market, right? Just adjust who our customers are. Or another conclusion there is, working with your pre-sales and post-sales to make sure that the expectations there were set. Was there expectations that were like really, really awesome in pre-sales? And then you get to post-sales and it didn't either come to fruition fast enough or wasn't possible at all. So those are the types of business decisions that are powerful from the data that you get from all these sources and not just analytics offering up, oh, here's our churn, here's our close rate, right? That's what makes this our role as RevOps really sing. Cool, just a couple more slides. Why is this important? I don't know if we could drill this in home enough, but like our analytics and data people, marketing is a lot of data people now. Sales have a lot of data people now. People know how to manipulate data. So that operational data, somebody has to own. And that's not just owning for us, it's owning to fuel that customer experience, right? And this, again, it seems basic, but it's overlooked when there's no data strategy for operationalizing the data, right? And not just putting it somewhere, making it work for you, making it answer questions. I don't know about you all, but when somebody asks me a question personally or professionally that I can't answer, I atrophy until I can figure out the answer, right? I'm really good at saying no, but I'll figure that out. I would love to have so many more yeses. So I love to be able to answer questions really quickly too. And I think that's expected, not just from our colleagues, but our customers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what, so I guess we talked a little bit about the single source of truth concept. So I guess I'm thinking about first, like, okay, so if we're all kind of sitting here, and let's say we're we're at stage 0, right? It's like, oh man, I've been looking at this like single source of truth idea. I've been chasing it. Everyone else in my company is chasing it. That's what people are demanding of me. What are some things that people can do to again, start to get people to think maybe differently about it, either questions to ask, steps that they can take, and then, yeah, what might be some of those like first sort of tactics that, that people can, start to look at in terms of like identifying business needs or problems, just wondering on like, all right, how can we get started and maybe move up the maturity curve here?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple bullet points. We can read these. Feel free to screenshot it. I'm happy to have very in-depth conversation on each one of those, or my colleague Evan Dunn. But I think it's back to the philosophy of focusing on what matters. And I think it's okay to not focus on having perfect data. Having perfect data holds you back from automation initiatives and initiatives that are really moving the needle now. If I go tell my leadership team, my CEO, tell you how much ARR we have, or I can tell you, what our conversion rates are, or I can tell you, it just is boiling sea of data. So then what I end up doing is just putting everything in spreadsheets and trying to come up with something. And then that answer is stale as soon as that spreadsheet is done. Right. So that's why I say, go back to focusing on what matters and have those conversations with each of your business units. Right. So have a conversations with analytics, so have that they understand, the alignment that they need to have to really answer those questions. Have alignment with your sales leadership, with your CRO. Their CRO it tends to be so focused on funnel and pipeline that there's so many other juicy data points that, again, we as RevOps can get to them. Talk to your CTO about, like Matt, you said, the adoption of the systems that we have. And if we're not using them, let's get rid of them. Let's consolidate. Let's really optimize that data supply chain so that, again, we can put it back in engineering. Like how cool is that to be able to go to your CTO and say, hey, I figured out a way for your engineers to be more efficient. Here's some more money. I could reduce our cost of goods sold if we did XYZ. CTOs love that kind of stuff, right? So it comes back down to mapping your customer journey again, like thinking about that bow tie. I love the bow tie. I don't know, Matt, everybody's like, funnels are dead, kill the funnel. It's such a great way to visualize what's going on in your business. I mean, how can you know what's going on in your business? Well, AI aside, with, thinking about every stage from lead to cash and your volume conversion velocity. That's like that's my holy grail, is my volume conversion velocity. So I can compare those metrics and see what's going on throughout the customer journey. And if I don't have the data, find out where to get it, find out how to iterate on it, make it scale. And yeah, like I said, CTOs, CROs, CEOs love this conversation about, oh, it's just another tool. So no, it's not just another point-to-point tool that you might need, but it's actually the business outcomes. Hey, wouldn't it be nice if we could answer this question for you before you even ask it, right? Or within hours instead of months. Hey, here's our board deck in an hour, right? Instead of 2 weeks of very, very conversations and very late nights and weekends. We've all been there. Yeah. Right. So that's, I think starting there with your vital few metrics, the data that's behind them, where is that data? Focus on that and not just shoving all the data into Salesforce or, giving your analytics team an impossible task.
Yeah, maybe maybe go back. I think it's a couple of slides where you have that bow tie slide, Jessica. Yeah. So I think maybe, like maybe the first step, I guess, as I think about this and, like something that I could do today, something that everyone here could probably do today is kind of map, like you said, map the customer journey against the different tools or systems that are in your tech stack today using a visual like this. Like you could literally whip up a mural board right now and start to put some little sticky notes on it and, just map out your customer journey from, kind of start to finish, and then map the different tools that you're using within that customer journey, right? That can give you a really good sense of where there might be solutions impacting certain stages of your customer journey. But then also, like you said, it might kind of overturn some rocks where you're like, oh, hey, you know what? Tool A is a point solution over here. We're not really using that. We can, kind of get rid of that, have the same functionality in other spots. So you might be able to uncover some unmet, again, some unmet, or I guess some budget, unlock some budget there. That would be kind of step one. And then I guess step two is I would think about it based on what you said, Jessica, is go and talk to, call it the stakeholders, the leaders of each of those kind of functions within the customer journey, right? The head of marketing, head of sales, head of customer success, finance on the billing or the ERP side, and probably get a sense for the type of data points or metrics that they would want to see within the tools that they're using to do their job every single day. And if you have a list of those metrics, KPIs, data points that they want in the CS platform, that they want in the CRM, from there you can probably move on to step three of starting to build out your data dictionary, right? And starting to say like, okay, here are all the things that people are asking for. Here's how we can define them. Here's where we can get, kind of those data points from to calculate these metrics correctly. And then last step is you can figure out how to actually get those into the tools or the systems that those stakeholders are using kind of every day, right? But you're starting with cataloging all those things out, doing your interviews, talking to people, mapping things against the customer journey, figuring out where there might be kind of gaps, problems, kind of challenges, right? Start with the problem and then move on to the solution. That was a bit of me kind of thinking out loud of how I would do this like today if I was starting. So I don't know how much of that makes sense, resonates, like curious on your feedback or take on that. But again, looking for, kind of tactical things that we could all do today to get started on this journey.
Yeah, I think I think we mentioned earlier, it's kind of like the data kind of ends at a dashboard. And I know the word activation has different meanings to different areas of data and technology movement. But if I'm looking at this and I say, okay, now I have the data, so I can put it on a collection of dashboards. I can have a bunch of metrics muttered on there that says, okay, I have a win rate and I have a funnel stage 1 to stage 2, right? Meeting to pipeline, and a win rate and a churn rate. I have that all in a dashboard. I look at it and I say, okay, that's fine. But what do I do about it? Right? We can all look at it, but what do I do about that? How do I tell that to, what am I advising? What are the insights that I'm gathering out of there? So to take it one step further, and that's why this, the single source of truth as a distraction to this, if I say that my meeting to pipeline number is up and my win rate is down, so I have those, but I have a benchmark that I've agreed upon in my lexicon, then what could be an action there? Well, we're not getting quality meetings. All right, now let's go back to what's the source of these meetings? It's outreach sequences. All right, what's performing there? Is it one rep that is actually really good at getting meetings, but it's not with the right people? Okay, so it's activating that data. So it's not just putting that on the dashboard, but it's actually activating it. So that was, multiple sources there. I'm talking, Marketo, Salesforce outreach, for example. Another one is like your time to value, time to onboard, using your product metrics, using number of cases in Zendesk, and then maybe a project management tool, something like that, right? So if your time to onboard is really quick, but they're not using the product, I put those two metrics there and they just sit there. So cool, good for me. But I want to do something about that and alert my head of CS and say, hey, churn, right? Let's do something about that, right? Get them on the call, put them in an automated sequence for something that you're using in your product, or that they're not using in their product, that might be easy. So you have an automated sequence that says, hey, I noticed you're not using this feature. Step 1, 2, 3, something like that, right? So that's why I would say it's having these metrics, this volume, velocity, conversion with all of these points, isn't just sticking them on a dashboard, It's comparing them and then activating a process, an agreed upon process.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the point you brought up about like the data, like using the data that you have is another thing where RevOps can play a really big part and influence that. Because again, I brought up before of like my thought process, like, okay, I'll go to the stakeholders of each department, ask them about the data points that they need to within the tools that they use to do their job better, or to just do their job on a daily basis. I can almost guarantee you that 100% of the time, people are probably going to give you data points that they actually don't need, but they either think they need or they want. And so just ask the question, like Jessica said, of like, okay, if you have that, what will you do with it? Because I want to make sure that you're able to to take action on the right things, right? And if you can't actually think about what you would do if, for example, you saw churn, like churn rate in your like Salesforce like dashboard, well, then why does it need to be there? Because again, we can have data overload, metric overload, like the more stuff that's in front of us, the more complex and more distracting it's going to get. And so, yeah, ask not only like what data points do you want or need, but also follow that up with the question of like, what will you do with it, right? That can help inform the playbooks that you develop, and just make sure that you're delivering like truly the thing that people need, because everyone always wants access to like all of the things, right? But you ultimately want them to do their job efficiently, effectively. And again, Jessica's been preaching on like this notion of kind of conversion rates and things from stage to stage, right? Like if you can make people more efficient, if you can squeeze more out of the same volume that you have today, just going to have a compounding effect as that stuff goes through your bow tie here, right? And so you're now doing more with the same. You're not spending more money to get more. You're getting more from the same amount of resources that you have. So yeah, like right questions to be asking of, what will you do with the data that you have? Because again, people may default to thinking they need a single source of truth or they need access to all the things, but they don't, right?
Licenses are expensive. Licenses are expensive. That cost is expensive.
Yeah.
The cost of, again, swivel chairing back and forth between tools, the human cost of forgetting to check this other system. If you're, especially in a bigger organization, a head of CS and you have your case close time. What if your case close time is correlated to your churn rate, which lives in Salesforce, and you're hanging out in Zendesk and you go, oh, my time to value, my case close rate is really low, but those customers churn faster, maybe because they're not engaged or they're not moving through the product, right? So it's just those data blind spots. So instead of just, oh no, now I have to drop everything I'm doing to get this piece of data here so that we don't do that next time. You know what I mean? So it's letting people work in the systems that they need to work with the tools to make their functions successful and the business successful as well.
Yeah. No, that's great. So yeah, any I know I kind of took you off of the slide you were on, but yeah, any last points on, again, how folks can kind of get started, continue to move up the kind of maturity curve on this notion of like single source of truth to distributed source of truth. And I think you've got some other info on, kind of more events and other stuff that's happening on this topic.
Yeah. Again, this is a hot topic. And if anybody knows Jackie or follows her on social media, she loves her some hot topic. I love following Miss Jackie, but she'll talk with us tomorrow too. But just a couple of concluding points is point-to-point solutions. They don't solve your problems. Again, I've been using Salesforce since I don't know, a very long time. A vendor says, oh, you can hook it up to Salesforce in 5 minutes. That's always a red flag for me. I go, I can, but cool. Now I have 20 fields in my account. Oh, so I hit my field limit. Oh, this one's labeled something weird. So I completely lost control over my own data model, my own fields. And I said, oh, it's so easy, point-to-point solution. Just plug and play. I'm like, and then you go to a new organization and you inherit and you look at it and you go, oh my goodness, you have 20 point-to-point solutions. How the hell do you manage that? Well, you don't, right? So point-to-point solutions don't solve problems. That's number one, right? Oh, I can just hook up Pendo and Salesforce. Call it a day, right? That doesn't answer all of your key business problems. So Again, build a stack that fits your scale and provides visibility. So your strategy and your playbook into your stack. Don't let your stack rule your strategy and playbook. That's why I always say, don't let your data warehouse rule your strategy. Let your strategy rule your data warehouse. And like I said, like I don't know. Again, it's just me, maybe just me, but I would like to think not. But I hate not being able to answer questions. And then if I can't answer it, then I'll get really scrappy and I'll just download a bunch of spreadsheets, do a bunch of VLOOKUPs, and then pop something out. I go, okay, that was cool. And then somebody has another question about the data, and I'm like, and then I look at my backlog of other system things, and I'm just adding weight to that anchor. But damn, am I good at spreadsheets? We all are. Right? Just to be able to answer a question, just get data from all this stuff. It's just, whew. So let's open up our aperture, right? With how we can think about how we get data, so that we can answer these questions, not in days or weeks, and not just with a review mirror. Yeah, because if you get speed and accuracy, again, it's all really simple. Speed and accuracy means better decision making. Better decision making means better leadership. Better leadership means happier teams, RevOps teams, happier relationships with your functional leaders. Happier teams means happier customers. Happier customers means more revenue, less churn. So it is kind of cliche, but to think about data just being the source of your happiness and make sure you have control over it. Thinking as RevOps, that's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And I think those are all really good points. And so as we kind of get wrapped up here, if folks do have any kind of last questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. We can get to them before we close things out. But yeah, I think again, my some of my big takeaways from the chat today are again, easy to default to the idea of a single source of truth, and I think intent is good. But I think all of us here and everyone within our companies that we work for, right, can start to challenge themselves, challenge others on, what are you trying to solve for, right? So again, single source of truth, call it a solution, not the problem. So think about the problems that you're trying to solve for and start to ask questions along those lines, right? If other people within your org are, asking you about the single source of truth, I think it was Tom before that brought up how you can answer with a question on that, ask them what they're trying to answer, right? Or, if they're wondering about where the data is coming from. So yeah, flip the script on, kind of look to problem first, then solution. And then, yeah, start to map kind of your tech stack against the customer journey that you have. That can be a really good first step to see where you might be generating data, what systems are generating the data, where they impact various teams, and most importantly, where they impact your customer. And then from there, you can start to interview and kind of get feedback from stakeholders within each of those departments who use those tools, understand the metrics, the data points, the KPIs, the things they want available within their solutions to do their job, but make sure to also ask why they want that, right? What are they going to use it for? Make sure they have answers to those questions, right? Because it can be easy to want everything, right? No one wants to feel left out. FOMO is real. But at the end of the day, you actually don't need all of that stuff. And then lastly, right, then the last thing you can do is once you have all of that, then you can figure out how to get people the data points that they need in the tools that they use every single day. That's where, right, technology like Asynchry can come into play. That's where you can, start to navigate kind of with other things kind of as well. But again, you're ending on the solution side, you're not starting there. So those are some of my big takeaways from today. Jessica, thank you for dropping a whole bunch of knowledge on us. This was fun. You had a lot of great things to share. Just so everybody knows, feel free to connect with either myself or Jessica on LinkedIn. And then we're also in RevOps Co-op Slack as well. Like I said, if you join the community, you'll have access to the Slack group. You can DM any of us there. We can start a thread in any of our public channels to talk more about this. And then following the event, I think the folks from Asynchry will probably follow up with some slides, maybe some other resources and stuff on this topic too. And so you can feel free to hit their experts up. They know a lot about this topic too. But with that, I will let everybody go. We do have 8 minutes left. So I would say if you've got 8 minutes before your next meeting, I challenge you to go to get that Miro board spun up, map your customer journey and your tech stack, see if you can do that in 8 minutes. You'll have
take 5 minutes, breathe. Don't forget.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, Jessica with her breath work recommendations. So yeah, 5 minutes rather than 3 hours, like she did the night before. Yeah, that's good.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks everybody for the discussions in the chat, and happy to nerd out on this further. I love this topic. So
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jessica, and thank you to everybody who attended. I'll see you all later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.